Hello and welcome to the fourth round of Season 2 of the Drivers' Room Endurance Championship. As we can see, after 3 rounds, Plux leads the championship with Mac closely behind and F1 in third. Then we have Muller and Nijogger rounding out the top 5. As you join us at Brands Hatch Indy, the short circuit for Brands Hatch. As you can see, we have Mac on pole in the Huracan, followed by Plux, and then F1. Let's see what their strategies are today. So it's a lovely sunny day here in Brands Hatch. Should be good grip from the tyres. Let's take a look at the teams. So in pole position we have Mac in the Huracan, and he's starting on racing softs all round, followed closely by championship leader Pluxtheduck, also on softs all round. And we have F1 in the Toyota Orica car on racing soft, super soft rears. Then we have Gadget on softs all round in the Sigma entry. We have V8 in the second of the Huracans. He's also starting on racing softs. Then we have Mungino in the Mobile 1 Jaguar. He's starting on a split racing medium super softs. Then we have Senna in the Mustang. He's starting on soft tyres. And Nijogger, he'll be looking for a fast start. He's starting on super softs all round in the Ferrari. And we have Fours starting down in 9th in the second of the Cayman cars on softs. Then we have Rocker in the Atari Jaguar on softs. Muller in the Red Bull Citroen car, looking resplendent there. He's racing on super soft tyres at the start. And we have Jules in an updated version of his Volvo livery. He's starting on super softs on the rear but racing mediums on the front. Then we have Jammy in the Lexus. He's starting on super softs all round as he usually does. Then we have Daz in the Mistral car on softs all round. Canny in the Intersport Nissan, he's starting on softs. And then Shep bringing up the rear in 16th place with super soft tyres. So let's see what happens at the start of the race. So we have the same front row that we did in the first round in the Gr4 cars, and so they're away now. It looks like the same result might have happened. Plux seems to have got the better launch than Mac did, even though Mac has the four-wheel drive. So they sweep into Paddock Hill for the first time. Plux has indeed taken the lead, but let's see if they can keep it clean through here. Oh, it looks like Mungino's already had an issue, and Gadget seems to have been punted out wide. That's a disaster for Gadget. Looks like his fast start didn't really occur. He was looking for a good one, so he could mix it with the top runners today. So we're on board with Canny. He's had a good start, up 7 places. Jammy too, he's had a reasonably good start, up a couple of positions. Oh, Mungino's off again. He's had an absolutely terrible start, down 6 places. He's got a lot of work to do today. And again he's gone wide, he's going to have to lift off there, but managed to keep it straight. Let's take another look at the start. We're on board. Oh, there's Gadget getting a jump start for the second race in a row. That's why he fell down so many places. And of course it immediately bunched up the field. V8 got a great start. So some bunching maybe on the inside caused some issues. Let's see, oh, Mungino had an incident. Then V8 came across and took Gadget out. Not intentionally, of course, like a big racing incident, let's say. And Nijogger's been the big winner. He's up from 8th to 4th, and he's on super soft tyres. We jump forward at the end of the first lap now. You can see Nijogger there, chasing down Mac, who's lost the position to F1. That was the first time through Graham Hill. We didn't see that on camera, but I'm getting reports of that. Nijogger, a little bit of understeer through that section. Yeah, Ferrari can be a bit of a lively car. As we're heading up now, watching from Gordon's car, I believe, looking back at Ayrton. in the Mustang. The Mustang's very good for the first few laps, but it does burn its tyres. Oh! We've got Jules being overtaken here by Daz up into Druids. As they come through Graham Hill Bend, Daz should have this as long as he keeps it tidy. Jules is right behind him. You can see Gadget there. He's trying to recover after his bad start. All the way through the tight complex as we come through the final corner. There's Force. He's had a good start. From 9th. And the Cayman. So we're back on board with Nijogger. His tyres will fade faster than Max in front of him. This is more the sort of drive Nijogger would be hoping for. Oh, see a big wide moment there for Canny, but V8 made a mistake on the exit. It looks like he's clear. And Shepherd, he's having a reasonably good start. Miller's had a terrible start, down to 14th position. Seems to get through that first exchange fairly cleanly, so he's obviously had an instant somewhere to fall down that many positions. Miller's on the super soft tyres. We've seen him pull off a variety of strategies this season. Only driver I know of who's used hard tyres and supers to start with. Okay, he's near the back at the moment. Looks like he's had an issue. And the Atari car started a bit further up the field. We did see a lot of wheel banging. Maybe he was a big loser through that. There's Jammy. He didn't get a good start at all. We saw that in the background. And there's Plux back up in the lead. It's a very short circuit tonight. I'm expecting 70 plus laps. This is under a minute per lap. Gadget seems to have got through past Jules there. And back past V8. He's starting that recovery drive. Gadget always expected to be near the front. Qualified 4th. Was expecting good things, but got a second jump start in a row. He'll have to curb that if he wants to try and make up positions in the championship. There's V8. The fast Hurricane is just going to keep that car on the road. There's Daz in the Mistral. Also in the Hurricane. The Hurricanes have been quick here. You see it all over the back of fours here. Like I said, that Mustang very good at the start, but the tyres will fade on it. He's going to have to be careful. Expect Senna to be pitting more than most. So we see Nijogger keeping it with the top 3 at the moment. We have to see if he can carry on like that for the entire race. We see Mac there coming through Paddock Hill. He's going to be kicking himself and making another mistake at the start and getting a bad start again. There's F1. Because last time we ran in these cars, he chased down and overtook Plux using better tyre wear. Can he do it again? It does look like he's getting closer. Maybe he's already got a small tyre advantage over Plux. Thought to be able to reel him in, but this is a very different track to the Red Bull Ring. Oh, Plux goes a little wide through Paddock Hill, but he does carry reasonable speed on the exit. But F1 definitely close up through there. So we go through Druids. Flash there from F1, just trying to unsettle Plux. Even if he's not really close enough to make a big impact yet. Just kind of have something flash in his mirror. It's upsetting me a little. Oh, that was like a backfire a little bit though for F1 there. So we go through a fast, tight section. There's a lot of viable strategies tonight. We go for a 2-stop or a 3-stop. Mostly everyone's going to be running softs or super softs. So we jump back through the field a little bit here. We're looking at Daz. He's closed back up to Senna. Daz has looked racy here. And maybe he'll be able to get that move done. We jump back now to Muller, who's going to get clear of Rocker. And Canny's now right up behind Rocker. Oh, a big tank slapper there as he hit the gravel there from Rocker. It's not going to do his tyres any good, and he's lost the position to Canny. There's Jules. Ooh, Jules has fallen down a few positions. He was up near around Gadget, so we'll have to see what happened to him here. I think we've got a replay queued up. There's Jules coming into Paddock Hill. Paddock Hill, Graham Hill. Unfortunately, just got those wheels wide on the entry, and it just flipped the car around. Luckily, the four-wheel drive means he can pull himself out of that quite nicely. As we're back on board with Daz. He's just stalking the back of Senna's Mustang, but we can see already. Oh, Senna's made a mistake. Daz is going to be right at his tail. Having to try it the long way round. Senna's managed to cover him off. He's got to make sure he doesn't go wide. Oh, he's gone wide. That's going to be the position. Senna just ran a little too late on the brakes. And Daz will say thank you very much. I'll have that. And Daz chased down Force now. Daz always has the potential to be quite quick. He gets unlucky sometimes. And there's Mac. In third position. And the number 58 car. There's F1. Who have not really brought the gap down any closer to Plux. The gap seems to have stabilised. But it is very difficult to overtake here. Practice races have really shown that. The cars don't like following close. There's not a lot of heavy braking zones. You kind of rely on the person in front making a mistake. F1 has shown himself to be extraordinarily quick, but he's not running the full campaign, so really all he's doing is just stealing points off of other drivers. Plux will happily have F1 finish second to him today. Steals a couple of extra points away from Mac. So we're back on board with Gadget now in 8. Still on that recovery drive. As we see Daz is closed up to the back of Fours as well. Jump forward to that. A bit of weaving there, but nothing too untoward. Petronas livery there of Fours. Daz couldn't quite get a run, but Force has run a little bit wide through Druids. You can take a slightly wider line through there and get away with it. As we go through Graham Hill Bend. And now Force is starting to feel a little bit of a trilly train here. Allowing Gadget to catch right back up. Gadget will be looking at this and going, yes, extra points for me. So we might be able to pick these guys off over the course of the race. Oh, Daz almost running onto the grass there, probably busy watching the back of Force's rear bumper. So they go into Paddock Hill. This is really not an overtaking place, and you can see Daz clips that inside curb, kicks the tail out, loses all that momentum. He's going to have to work harder again. But Force has kind of gifted it to him. He's run even wider this time. Daz has pinched himself up on the curb, and he's probably kicking himself knowing that if he'd kept it tidy through Paddock Hill, we'd now have 5th position. Daz now running wide. That's going to give Senna a bit of a run, probably. And look, Gadget's already onto the back of these guys. That shows you just how much time you lose. Oh, Senna's gone a little bit wide there. He's going to make sure he gets on the power nicely, because Gadget will snap him up if he does that a few too many times. The Sigma car, in the yellow, red and black. Looks like Senna's tyres are starting to go. We'll be hoping that he can jump past him. Maybe even before the... Oh, that's a big mistake from Longino there. Just ran wide at Paddock Hill. That allows Muller through. Muller, who hasn't really seemed to get fully comfortable with the Citroen yet. Surely he will soon. As we look at lap 15, we can see Plux holds a slim 2-second advantage from F1. We'll jump through the field now. You can see the top 10 there. Rongino rounds that out. Down at the back is Jules. He's had a few errors. We'll see if he can make up that time. forward now with Plux. Cayman is a good car. Nice to drive. It can get a little bit tail happy as we just saw there. The Toyota has a similar penchant for sticking its tail out at different points. Usually does it on power. There's Mac in third. So we're back with Gadget now. He's dropped a little bit off the back of Senna. Gonna have to be careful not to lose touch. You see Rocker and Canny. And there's V8. He's lost the position to Canny. Looking like he's got a bit more pace now. You can see the state of that front left tyre on Canny's GTR. As we see a pit stop there. I didn't quite catch who's in the pits. It might be Senna. And it's going to be V8 going in for an release. Oh, he just got a little too aggressive there with his pit entry. That's going to cost him some extra time. And probably protect Canny from an undercut. At least a one lap undercut, that is. Senna did pit. He's back out on soft tyres again. But he's looking like he's likely to be doing maybe a 4, maybe a 5 stop. No, it looks like possibly a 4 stop race for him. There's Knee Jogger. There's Max now pitted. And Mac blinks first of the top 3. He's going to hope that fresh tyres can get him out in front of F1 and Plux and keep him ahead of Knee Jogger. Plux starting to catch the tail now. There's V8 in 16th. Gives him a hurry up flash. Traffic is going to become a bit of a nightmare. Of course, Plux's tyres are older, and when they do run off the cliff, they may struggle to keep V8 behind them. Luckily V8 very maturely allows them through on the straight. There was a driver briefing before this about keeping your eyes in the back of your head. Leaders, don't try and just dive it in on the inside, allow the back markers to let you through safely. F1's now in, he's back out. I think he's out on super soft tyres. Mac is through though. No, he's not. I apologise. F1 managed to get out back ahead of him, so Mac hasn't had the best of outlaps then. And there's Gadget in 7th now. Of course, upper position because of Senna's pit stop. Looks like the tyres on the GTR have started to go. Jogger's in 2nd. You can see F1 flashing it away. That's the gap. It's a bit of a bigger gap up to Plux. And Knee Jogger's also going for probably the 2-stop strategy. But Knee Jogger's had a difficult season. F1's had a very fast season. Hasn't been here for the entire time, and Mac's been kind of the consistent title championship contender. He's been fast everywhere he's raced, but he hasn't quite scored a win yet. There's Gadget, he's up another position. Let's see who pitted. Looks like maybe 4's pitted. We're already on lap 20. Not lap 19, sorry. We're almost going to be completed almost 20 laps. And it's not even, quarter distance yet. There's Ayrton. And there's 4. So 4's did get jumped by Ayrton in the pit stops. Ayrton used those fresh tyres well, but of course he'll have to pit at least one more time, I think, than 4's will. 4's going a longer stint. Same car as the leader. Let's see what he can do with it. And there's Jammy, he's up a few positions after people pitted. And this is exactly what I was going to say. V8 now has probably got a slightly faster car than Plux, but he can't do anything about him. And that's going to start infuriating V8 because he knows he shouldn't really overtake. But he kind of wants to. So we just saw Jammy, he's gone into the pits now. There's Canny and Shepherd. Shepherd is doing a sterling job there. Not the quickest of drivers, but turns out does a reasonably good job. No complaints from myself. I think sterling work. I saw Jules there. Jules can be very quick, but hasn't had much chance to gain his consistency back. In the earlier days of Driver's Room, he wasn't one of the front runners sometimes. doesn't seem to get the time to do the testing required to be near the front. As you see Mac there, trying to carve through the field. The gap between him and F1 has stayed similar, and they will be closing the gap down to Plux. Of course, they've got fresh tyres. And there's Plux, he's just trying to tootle along, try and get it to the next pit stop. And there's Nijogger, he's pitted now. Out on the fresh tyres, he's probably lost a bit of time. Oh, Mangino there. Lost it on corner entry. Now seems to really be suffering those tyres, and it's the indicator on to say he's coming in. See Gadget there. Oh no, we're back on board with Fours here. He's caught up to the back of Senna. This is now on lap 21. Nice run out the final corner by Fours. Is he going to dive it down the inside at Paddock Hill? I said this wasn't really an overtaking spot, but he has got the overlap. And that was a nice clean move by Force there. Senna will look to counter-attack. I don't think he would have managed it. Here's Plux now on lap 23. Is he pitting? He stays out for another one. There's F1. He's going to be chomping there. Oh, Candy goes off the road trying to let him past. And there's Mac, who's definitely closed that gap. Because he's got the slightly harder tyre, has allowed him to keep the pace up a little longer. And there's Nijogger, he's on the supers again, just kind of holding a fourth position, but he's got Daz right behind him, but Daz hasn't pitted yet. Daz is going to have to be careful not to run those front tyres out too much and have a spin. And there's Force now holding the sixth position. He did hold off Senna, I thought he might do. Gadget now on the medium tyres he's pitted for, so he's going for a super long middle stint. Almost definitely going for the two stoppers. Our race leader Pluxtheduck is now in. F1 and Mac of course have taken the position off him because they weren't that far behind. As we see Plux now coming out the pits, and the two leaders are now F1 and Mac. Plux has got some work to do, but that's contrasting strategy for you. He's back out on soft tyres. Got about 2/3 tank of fuel, just under. As we see, Daz has pitted now. That's good for Daz. He's having a strong race. He's the latest of the that middle group to pit, so he'll have the freshest tyres and the easiest two-stop. And there's Mac. Hasn't really been able to close much on F1. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Drivers can close, but they can't get close enough to overtake without someone making a mistake. Oh, a big bobble there from the Cayman. Plux is really trying to get that hammer down. Now he's got a bit of fresh air for a lap or so. And that's kind of how this track's going to work. You get maybe a lap or so of clean air, and then you're back behind the traffic, and it's kind of navigating the traffic is going to determine how quickly you can catch someone. You see V8 there on the older tyres. Muller, who's probably pitted to be that far back down the field again. Yes, he has. Oh, V8 goes off there. That's a shame for him. He's going to have to let the leaders through again. There's Jammy letting Plux through after that awful start for him. Oh, a kick of oversteer as he just touched that outside grass and sand. There's Canny. Oh, Shepard's had a spin, I think, down in 15th, and Jules is going rallying. I think that's supposed to be next week on a Sunday. Jules, not this week, that's when we're driving the rally cars. And there's F1 in the lead, just trying to keep the pace up on those supers. He knows Plux is going to be slowly catching him. And if he can make this three-stop work, he's going to be in the catbird seat. Car there. Simple but I think quite effective paint job there. Mac in the Marco Simoncelli replica livery. There's Plux in the Pepsi sponsored car. In the Redmond racing car. car's having a little tyre squeal into Druids there as they turn in. Getting a lot of energy through those tyres. There's Force looking a little smoother. And since he's had the new sponsorship from Petronas, he seems to have put a few consistent results, which is really good for him. He struggled at points at the beginning of the season, at the end of last season. He really started to get some momentum. And I think a new sponsor has helped him. There's Daz. Oh, there's Gadget right behind him. Can he get behind him? No, he's gone a bit wide there. Oh, hit the sand. Does he have to keep out of the pit wall? Oh, he catches the wall. That's awful luck for him as we now take a look at the standings after 30 laps. You can see that F1 still has the lead. Still fairly close at the front. And in that mid-pack, we've got a good grouping of racers. So we're now on the end of lap 30. Gadget slowly closing up to the back of Senna. Oh, Senna's gone wide as well. This will give Gadget a run, but Senna dives into the pits instead. Protects himself, protects kind of the time loss he'd have if he had to spend a lap battling Gadget by just diving in the pits. And the same for Gadget. Gadget's like, yes, I don't have to lose a load of time battling someone. I can get head down on my medium tyres, try and keep the gap to Ford's quite close, and then get him at the next set of pit stops when I can pit later and take on less fuel and probably super soft tyres. There's Knee Jogger in fourth. He's kind of got no one around him now. He'll happily take the points for a nice fourth place finish. There's Plux in third, so closing up to the leaders. See, that's where Mac is, just the other side of Druids. We'll start to see him soon. Mac pitted around 15 laps ago, so his tyres are going to be a little bit shot. There's Plux in the back of shot. Mac makes his way past the traffic, and F1's not far ahead on the super soft tyres. 27 Orca car. Plux, they're all on the same bit of tarmac now. It's going to come down to how quickly Plux can close them down, and if he can hold on in his before his final stop. Gadget now up to fifth. Looks like Force has possibly made a mistake. Coming into Paddock Hill Bend, I think I know where this is going to go. He's probably going to run a little bit wide on old tyres. And just go off into the gravel trap. Yep, turned in a little too early, understeered wide, and oh, a big kick of oversteer. That's the problem with the mid-engine car, and it does start to snap at the back. You lose a lot of time. There's Mangino. He's been in 8th. It's been a fairly quiet race, but some errors early on have kind of cost him. And there's Muller. I was alluding to this earlier. Force is in the pits. Muller hasn't really gelled with that Citroen. He moved away from the BMW. Oh, V8 has a little error there. But Muller, we've seen him right at the front last time out, and this time he seems to be kind of buried in the pack a bit. See Rocker, can he get it slowed down nicely? Yes, difficult pit lane here. As we see Mac now coming out onto lap 34. So he's dropped obviously behind Plux. So it's going to be how long can Plux stay out? How long will F1 stay out for before he dives in for his third set of tyres? There's Plux now right behind Miller. This is going to help out F1. So that's another car in the way. And Miller probably won't hold him up for long. Yeah, Miller was looking very strong last week. For an issue with gear ratios, kind of robbed him of a bit of extra pace. Here's F1. Always fast. Second last time out. Taking a nice smooth line through Druids. These two cars, whilst they have different engine layouts, are actually quite similar to drive. Quite on the nose cars. You have to chuck it in and hang on. Just go about their power delivery quite differently. the Toyota's very naturally oversteering on power, while the mid-engine nature of the Cayman is not so bad, as we see F1 dive to the pits now. Both save each other a bit of time from not having to battle. Mac will come through. He's going to be on those fresh tyres, closing back down on Plux. He's probably got around a 12-second lead now. There's F1 just out behind Mac. Probably on laps fresher tyres. This time he's gone for softs instead of supers. Oh, I was talking about a little bit of oversteer. There was a bit of power on oversteer. There's Gadget on his very long stint. Keeps ploughing away. And plod along, hopefully in a damage limitation drive. He'll pick up some solid points for himself. There's Senna. He's doing probably the most stops of anyone this race, especially when you consider he's not on supers. Let's look back now at Mangino. He's managed to get himself up to 7th with this pitting. He has got 4s right behind him now. He's going to have to be careful. The Jag is a very comfortable car to drive. I wouldn't say it was the absolute fastest. It is fairly... Oh, Mangino's had a spin. Ooh, a bit of funky physics in there too, just for extra measure. Mangino narrowly avoids taking out the race leader. And I think he's probably going to put it in the pit lane now. Yes, he does, as we're on board now with Miller. Or running with Miller, let's say. And there's Daz. After his unfortunate spin, he's back down the order a bit. It was a promising start to the race for him, and I'm sure he'll take some solace in that fact. The Hurricanes have been quick. Like all mid-engine cars, can be a little bit tricksy. There's Mangino again, after his pit stop, out on fresh tyres. He's got just under half a tank of fuel, and we're just over half distance now. There's Jamie in 11th, having a very quiet race in the gold car. I've always thought it's quite bold to drive in a gold car, but it works in terms of his sponsor with that jam cream centre. There's the Atari livery, well known by now within the community. The Rocker's car. Jamie is in the pits now. We'll promote Rocker up 1 position. Good work, Rocker. V8's not behind him. I think Canny's in the pits as well. Ooh, very close between Jamie and V8. V8 might have gone wide there actually. Yes, he has. That's unfortunate for him. You see Gadget is up to 4th now. I believe Nijog has just pitted. Yep, you can see him just behind, so he'll probably get back past soon. I think the Gadget's going to be on ancient tyres. There's Senna, who's going to try and capitalise on the little mistake Nijog made out of the pits. The tyres aren't going to be fully up to temperature yet. There's F1, he's pitted now. Trying to close down Mac and Plux. Did a few laps back. And Mac, you can see how the leaders tend to go for a strategy where they can burn off as much fuel as they possibly can, as efficiently as they can. Dump all the excess out, take as little fuel as they can in the first pit stop or first 2 pit stops, then kind of go for a long fuel up in the last stop. That's the strategy we usually see. We're on board with Shep in the Ferrari. He's trying to make up a position here on Canny. We're on board with Jules, who's fallen a little bit away from these guys. Oh, I think Shep's just put a wheel on the grass there at Graham Hill. And he's going to loop the loop in the little green Ferrari. There's Plux. On lap 42 now. Gap to Mac. Looks like it's around 5-6 seconds. a little bit longer actually. These cars are slower than sometimes they look. Struggling with the traffic there. Here's F1. Pretty good at the moment for at least a podium, maybe a second place. And if Flux makes a mistake on strategy, you might have dead tyres. And his Gadget kind of swarmed. Nijog's got through, of course, on the fresh tyres, and now he's got Senna right up his trumpet. Senna is going to have about the same level of grip. Coming through the final complex here. It's a difficult corner to get right. Gadget's gone a little bit wide. Senna's got probably the better run as they head up towards Paddock Hill Bend. Side by side, it's not really an overtaking point, but Senna's going to try and force his way through in the Mustang. Gadget will get the cutback in the four-wheel drive. System will help him punch up the hill, but a bit of wheel banging there between the two close rivals. It's their friendly rivalry. These two do know each other, race each other for a while. Do seem to end up on track together quite often. Now Gadget's got the position back. Pull off another good move. No, Ayrton's going to just dive straight for pits. So effectively Gadget's got a pit stop up on him now, because he will pit later, but I think Ayrton's still got another pit stop. There's Fours. He will get back past as well after that earlier spin. Good drive from Fours there outside of that error. Looks good. And there's Muller. He's slowly bringing himself back up the field. Ayrton's going to come out just behind Muller. Oh, a big wide moment there for F1. Oh, and Jules and Mangino and someone else back there. We'll have to take another look at what happened. Oh, Mangino's had an absolute tank slapper. So we're on board with Mangino. Going into Paddock Hill Bend, we can see Jules run wide, Daz runs wide, and Mangino runs wide. Anyone else also fancy a trip to the beach? Looks like Shep's done it as well. Hey, they've got a little party at the beach. As we're just taking a look now at the gaps, you can see it's still fairly close near the front. Strategy if you take into account. So we're back on that 48. You can see Max close right up to the back of the Flux, but Jamie ran wide and he's blocked Mac there. Obviously unintentionally, more concentrating on keeping his car straight. Really looking behind. Max now pushed a little bit hard through there, run wide. If you get it right, running wide can make you a little bit quicker. If you get it wrong, you just lose bags of momentum. These cars haven't got much grunt. As we watch Flux here from behind, we can see the gap to the leaders. This is what he'll be seeing out his rearview mirror. That front left tyre screaming to be changed on Flux's car. And he's down to a quarter of a tank of fuel, so like I say, well, Max under a quarter of a tank of fuel. The top guys usually go for burning all the fuel out of the car as fast as possible. They're all very tight on fuel. Looks like Mac might be the worst off as Jamie runs it a little bit wide there. That will allow some more people through. F1 there closing right up to the back of Mac. Max might have made a mistake here. Going to come in for a pit stop this time. Looks like he might. Yep, he's diving it in. Swinging around 20. Oh, and Max makes a very late call in. Looks like to come in. Maybe he thinks his tyres have gone. And there you go. That shows you the difference in the amount of fuel left. Max got an awful lot less. Flux will be able to take a shorter stop. And F1 inherits the lead again. There's Flux. He's out. 40 litres of fuel. Max gone for the shorter 37. Seems very, very low. I think Max is going to have to make another stop. This seems to be a strategic error from Mac. I think this might take it down to possibly a two-horse race. F1 will need to pit again. Flux will not. We've seen his strategy unless he makes an error and burns his tyres out. Daz there, letting Flux through. Good work by him, and there's Mac. He's a little bit further back. He has got less fuel in the car. Car of Daz. Daz tend to do all the livery decals for a lot of the drivers, and Gino does put forward his services as well for livery creation for the drivers. You see the V8 there, and the Hurricane with the unicorn on the front, and Jules there. Slightly revamped version of his 850 Classic BTCC livery, and Shep at the back in the lime green Ferrari. Still doing a sterling job there. We have lost one driver. I will endeavour to work out who that is. I think it might have been Kenny. Kenny might have had to park up and retire this round. Sort of race that can drive someone insane. So many laps, so many opportunities to make an error. Some very tight, difficult turns, but let's talk about tight racing instead of tight corners. Here's Fours all over the back of Gadget. Gadget still probably hasn't pitted off those mediums. Fours is having a look-see now. These two are wheel to wheel. Get it to go all the way around the outside. No, the power of the Nissan there, a little bit too much. This is going to be crippling F1 though. Stuck behind some leaders. Oh, and Gadget's car understeering across the bow of his. Gadget does let him through. It does seem like there was a small incident there between the two drivers, and Force has run wide because of that. Etton's going to be pulled into this as well now. All four of these guys, well, three of these guys have been close together. Because we lost Daz to an incident. Relative distance to those three. And fighting over fifth. Muller, you might be able to close in a little bit too. Some pause here now. And Gadget pitting at the same time. I guess Gadget will be going for the super softs, pause for softs again. He manages to get out before the other. Both out now. It looks like Force has managed to jump him actually. Or stay ahead. Good work there by their respective pit crews. Force's team getting him out a little bit ahead. Muller's closed up now. He's on fresh tyres, so his strategy has pulled him back into the mix, and I said it would. Always good for long stints, Muller. And help make up a little bit of deficit that way, not having to pit one more time. Force is going to have Gadget all over the back of him. But this sector is quite hard to overtake him. Gadget's gone for a tight line. Cover off Muller, who's really flying at the moment on those tyres. Very impressive stuff. Gadget's gone from the hunter to the hunted. Having a look around the outside of the paddock, but that isn't going to stick. Hoping possibly to force Gadget into a mistake, I think. Make him run wide, get the position that way. But Muller just tucks into line now. Red Bull Citroen goes through the corners, fairly good on the straight. Fairly neutral handling car. As F1 has now pitted from the lead, he's going to have to be careful not to put too much fuel in, get the right tyres on. The Mac is here now. He's still in the pits. He's taken on. 40 litres, I think that's a little bit too much. Mac runs a little bit wide on exit there. Out in first in the Pepsi car. Mac, a fun time lag there. And F1 coming out in third, he's got the work to do now. On board with Fours in sixth, he's got Gadget fairly close behind him. Senna's hitting again, probably for the last time. Where he comes out. Oh, there he is, just exiting now. Gadget's going for it. No, he's backed out of it. And that's going to allow Miller to close up, but also Gadget's going to have a look. He's got the inside line. Oh, Senna's managed to just keep ahead. And this is great driving from all four of these guys. Of course, Miller's come from the back of the pack, pretty much. Close up to near 5th position. Force is holding it now. Senna's got the freshest tyres. And Gadget's got the stickiest tyres. We'll see how long they last for, but he is on the supers. I'm not sure about Muller. Muller might also be on the super with soft tyres. Gadget got a terrible line through there. Muller was right in his back bumper. Of course, he can punch out the corner a bit better than the Citroen with the 4-wheel drive system in the GTR. Oh, a bit of weaving from the front. Two guys up ahead. So we're on board now with Mangino. 9th, solid race. We'll give himself 2 points if he stays in that position. He just works his way past the traffic of Jules. There's Daz, for all his errors that he's had today. Still going to get a point. There's Rocker in the Atari car. He's not a full-time driver, sometimes misses races. He's not too worried about where he finishes, but he always puts in a great show. V8, he sometimes can be lightning fast and jammy too. Especially at the end of last season, he was looking great. He's just had a little step back in consistency over this season. Season 3 might hold a little bit better for him. There's Jules, another driver who doesn't always get to race. That does hurt his consistency. Shep at the back, he's relatively new still, of course. He is improving with every round, and that is the most important thing as we're on board with the drivers, looking at their times. You can see it's close to the front. Top 2 drivers split by only 2.5 seconds after 60 laps as we're back on board. With Gadget. Oh, a little bit of contact there between the two drivers, nothing intentional, I'm sure. Just very close racing, trying to not give up the inside line. Gadget's going to have it now. He's going to dive it down into Paddock Hill. Can he get it stopped? Oh, Fours manages to get back underneath him. Nice driving there by Fours. It's going to be a contact here. Oh, Fours late on the brakes. Forces the issue. Gets back past. Great drive there by the two of them. Fours runs a little bit wide, doesn't do it in the way that gives him more speed, loses momentum. A little bit more contact between the two of them. Of course, nothing, really major, just a little bit of wheel banging. Oh, Muller's tried to go all the way around the outside there and lost himself a lot of time and momentum. Now Fours' turn to have the run. At the moment, it's looking like Gadget's going to have the shot trying to take on Senna. Once we get back to 5th place, which would be quite the achievement. Being that he started 4th but jump started. Lost himself a bucket of time in turn 1 as well with contact. It wasn't really his fault. Ford's done a good job as well, like I said. Oh, Senna's had a terrible corner. Gadget's really caught up now. He's having a look at him now. As we see Mac pits for another set of tyres for some reason. Maybe he's given up on trying to get the lead. Get it there. Looking on the inside. Maybe he's thinking that might be where he can get past Senna. There's Knee in 4th. He's a long way back from Max. So Max kind of given up on the win, I think, and trying to go for fastest lap. Make sure he gets that extra point that way. Oh, Gadget having a good old sniff into turn 1 late on the brakes. He's going to try and make something happen before his tyres completely fall off the cliff. Senna running a little bit on the gravel there. As they come down towards Graham Hill Bend. Gadget just getting the nose in a little bit better. And that's meant that Senna's run wide whilst Gadget got a nice tight run through there. But Stang is very good in a straight line. It's Gadget again. And Fours. Still under attack from Muller. Really, these 3-4 drivers, Daz you could include for the opening laps, have really been the best part of this race in my opinion. The battle at the front's kind of been mostly strategy, but these guys have had an absolute ding-dong for 5th position. A good old honest scrap around a very tight track, famous for doing touring car races. And some of the moves we've seen today have been a little bit touring car in their in the way they've played out. A lot of elbows, a little bit of forcing the issue. As we see Gadget there, he's having a look again. I think he's definitely trying to shape a move up into there. He's seen that Senna's not so strong through that sector. And he can use the 4-wheel drive to, you know, calm it all down when he needs to get on the power. Force has lost the position of Muller as well. That's an awful turn of events for Force. He's gone from 5th not long ago all the way down to 8th. Here's Gadget in 6th, on board with Senna. Oh, and Senna's run very wide through there. Get on the power nicely. Very stable car, and he's running a small bit of traction control to make sure it stays stable. Is Gadget going to have the drive this time? I don't think he's close enough to try anything. He is much quicker through this sector. Here he goes. Oh, I think he's running wide. Oh no, he's gone off into the kiddie litter. Gadget, what are you doing? This is not time for sandcastles. I know you drive a sandy coloured car. You're not going to be able to do any desert sneaking. And that's cost him bags of time. He's going to have to make sure he doesn't lose the... Oh, Jules backs out of that. I was worried for a moment. Jules was going to get back past him and he'd have no chance of possibly a shot at Force. He is a long way ahead of Daz and Longino though. Those guys bringing up the rear of the points. Rocker still having a good old battle with V8. V8's one of those drivers we've seen him have some good pace before, but he sometimes suffers for a little bit of lack of consistency. We saw he got, on the 2nd row last time out. Oh, that's about as wide as you could possibly run this through there. There would have been some clenching through that section. Didn't put any wheels on the grass, didn't put it on the gravel, still there. Want to get involved with this sort of clean, fair racing, the driver's room, and for this series, the endurance series, get hold of Gadget 334. And if you want to get involved with our Sunday League, where we drive at the same track but in different cars, get hold of MJR Mercer. They'll point you in the right direction. Just a message, pretty much any of the names you see with these races. I'm sure they can point you towards where we organise stuff. Here's V8, still having a look at Rocker. So we've got 6 minutes left. This race. Still having a look. You can see Gadget hasn't given up on trying to get 7th position back. Oh, good run there for V8, but no, just can't get quite close enough. That Jag is good in a straight line. It's a very stable car, very easy to drive. It's just not got quite the pure, the pure pace. So we're back on board with our leader. We haven't seen him for a while. He's trying to manage that gap to F1. The gap is fairly comfortable with only 4 minutes of the race left. And of course, every lap gets a little bit harder for Plux. A little bit harder, a little bit faster than it does for F1. And there's Mac. He has set a new fastest lap, so he has got that extra point. I very much doubt anyone will be pitting now and trying to take that off him. No reason for either of the top two. They're ahead of him, and not by enough of a pit stop. You see the howl, hear the howl of the Cayman. Corner, always difficult. We've seen some people go wide there. No one's absolutely blasted it into the sand today, but it's very easy to do. And there's Force, his tyres are destroyed, and already Gadget's having a look. Don't know if he's going to be able to get him. He's a little bit far back, and Gadget's tyres are in a much worse state. Gadget, of course, started 4th. He had some good pace into this one, and really events have unfolded in a really bad way for him. Sigma car. I was speaking to him the other night in my interview. was saying, Series 3 really hasn't. Series 2 really hasn't gone his way. He's hoping to hit the ground rolling for Season 3. Go back on board with Muller, who's had a really good comeback drive. Senna's looked fast, of course. Muller, oh, he ran that a bit deep. He's still pushing very hard, hoping to get an extra couple of points. Points mean prizes, of course. A really strong finish last time out on the podium. He's another driver who's probably hoping Season 3 will be a little bit better for him. Showing good pace, but just got a little bit unlucky with strategy and car's not quite working on certain tracks. But he's been fast and has had probably the best tyre of anybody. And there's Senna, he's not always here. He's had some real life injury that held him out some races. But he's always looked fast and he does get to race. And always a tough racer, in a good way, of course. Not afraid to give you a good fight, but knows the limit. And the Mustang, despite needing an extra stop of tyres, has looked fast and he's done a good job at it. Nijogger got that excellent start, helped out by the fact that everybody decided to have a big ding-dong fight, take each other out, and he just went straight through. 4th position, off he goes, the rest of his race, easy peasy. It's Mac, he was on pole, got it a little bit wrong, and F1's capitalised on strategic mistakes and an error from Mac at the start. And Plux did his usual thing, just launched it off the line and kind of drove away. It's been held close though, the gap's been, tight. It's looked bigger than it has because of strategy. And I think F1 might have put a little bit too much fuel in at the end there. It's going to be tight to see if we're going to get another 2 laps or 1 lap after this. So we are just coming to 1 minute left to see what time Plux crosses that line. So we're running with Mac. He's been extraordinarily quick, as is F1, which crosses the line with 47 seconds, I think, left. So I think he's going to be just short, or time this perfectly, and be able to cross the line straight away. It's a great race by Plux, good strategy. Held himself away from too much of the fighting. We'll feel good about the fact that he's managed to get one back on F1 in the same cars. Of course, F1 took the win in the first race. I don't think Plux enjoyed that. There's Mac. Tyres look like they're starting to go off. Here comes Plux. Through the final turn now, taking his 3rd victory of the season, pushing for it, and he's just going to miss out. F1 is going to close 2nd. Good race by him, makes up a position. You see Mangino doing a little pirouette there with Matt coming in 3rd. There's Knee. He's going to come in 4th because I don't think Ayrton's on the same lap as him anymore. Ayrton's managed to hold off Muller. Looks like Gadget managed to get past Fours, so maybe Fours made an error. We didn't see that on track. There's Muller. There's Gadget. Yeah, it looks like definitely Fours made an error. He's a long way back. Those tyres look destroyed. But a good drive by him. You can see another pirouette there by V8. It's quite an open straight. And there's Nijogger finishing in 4th. So as we take a look at the standings after that cracking race, we can see Plux has extended his lead at the top over Mac, and F1 has closed up slightly. And Muller and Nijogger are in 4th and 5th, still close, with Ayrton doubling his points to 22 and 6th. V8 and Jammy are holding on just ahead of Gadget, and then we have Daz rounding out the top 10. Well, thank you very much for watching. Catch us next time at Interlagos in the Group 1 LMP cars. Should be good. See you then.